gonna say
You laughed this time.
It's okay.
No, we good.
Live from somewhere in Texas.
No,
Where are we?
No specific.
I thought Xander's still in France.
No,
Still in France.
baguette.
Baguette.
He's peering through a teleportation wormhole. Yeah.
That's how he's in front of us.
He's actually keeps throwing.
We need to tell him what the hell we're doing.
What the hell are we doing, Xander?
What's different this time?
Oh, okay. Well,
man.
yeah, we're all in the same room.
Yeah, we're all
after talking about it for weeks.
This is our live episode. We're all gonna hold hands and start a demonic chant.
That's okay.
Oh God!
We are in the dark.
It's gonna be the most giggly episode of the podcast. I know it's my fault.
Yeah, because normally whenever we do our podcast, at least one of us has our parents in the room, or like in the room right next to us. And right now, none of us care.
It's true. So let's introduce myself. I'm Noah, as usual. To my left,
Colton.
Hola.
Baguette.
It's your boy Baguette, otherwise known as Xander.
And French bread.
And our special guest, as always.
What's up?
Mr. Michael. Yeah, but it's been like 2 weeks since Infinity War came out. It'll be 3 by the time this video does.
Yeah.
So I figured...
Except for you keep forgetting to upload the videos. No.
Shut up, I'm busy.
Shut up.
I'll work on that, but today we'll be talking about Infinity War.
Alright.
Because Michael thinks they screwed up.
We should...
Which is probably a valid opinion.
Yeah, we should make a spoiler warning before we...
No, it's been a month.
No, it's gonna... But put up a spoiler. Put a spoiler warning. We're gonna get dyslexic.
I think. Oh no!
We don't have any views.
I will dislike the video if that makes you feel better.
Okay, fine. I'll do it so that we don't get
just
babies.
in case. Can't be cheap. Alright, so spoiler warning. We're gonna talk about.
Although it's been 3 weeks, so shut up.
Yeah.
Everybody dies. 50% of the population is dead.
But they're not actually dead. That's the problem.
It's true.
Let's dive into. You're leading it.
Am I?
Where are we starting?
I don't know. What did you think? Did you like it?
Okay, yes.
Raise your hand if you like
Let's start with reviews. Noah, what's your review?
My review?
Yeah,
like
review
1 out
the
of
movie.
10?
Like 10-second review.
A 10 cent.
10 seconds.
10
Go.
Review. Yeah, okay.
I thought it was okay, but it wasn't the best Marvel did, and too many characters is not a good thing.
What is the best Marvel did?
I don't know. I liked some of the older Iron Mans are really good. Some of the Captain Americas are good.
You only had 2.
I think that the original Avengers was the best because it was a decent. Because I kept comparing this movie to Avengers, and the thing about Avengers is it's still about the connection between the Avengers, their personalities and how they interact with each other and how they come to grow as a team.
Do you think that is somewhat lost because of all the characters?
Yes, that and the fact that they really didn't. This movie could have been Thanos. That could have been the movie, which isn't a bad thing. But I don't even with regards to Thanos, I don't think they took it far enough sometimes because he's still the villain.
I mean, I would kind of contrast that and say that if they had made a movie which was exactly like the Avengers or the other movies before, the point of this movie was that we were seeing the characters which we have known for 10 years now end up in the sort of culminations of event interacting with characters they've never seen before.
It's true, which was cool. And you're right, they shouldn't be trying to make the same movie. But at what made Avengers at its core good, and I think this is true for most Disney movies. What Disney's trying to go for is to try to make fun movies. Like what made the new Star Wars movie good? What is it, 7? That's because that movie was fun to watch. And then in the next one, in 8, they were trying to make it this. They're trying to make it bigger than it actually was. But if
it was a big flop politically, like socially.
Yeah.
As far as script writing goes, definitely. I feel like whoever did the visuals should be hired for the next Star Wars movie. Every other writer-producer should be scrapped.
That's a very harsh way to go about doing it.
It really is. Especially, at the very least, Rian Johnson. Don't let him write any more movies. He's getting his own trilogy, which is pissing me off, but that's a completely different subject.
But the thing is, because they still had some interesting ideas in the first Star Wars movie and in the original Avengers, but at the core of those movies, they still have the characters' relationships to each other, and especially in Avengers, how they grow through their struggles, is what makes the movie interesting. And then you have all this cool action stuff.
Right, Infinity War didn't have it to that The thing with Infinity War is because I think it was the longest Marvel movie they ever made.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was almost 3 hours.
Oh,
it was almost 3 hours.
I watched it it started at 12 and we didn't leave the theater till 2, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, but because it was so long and because it had so many characters, they had to spread the time in so that each character didn't really get a lot of build up, which was kind of a problem that they kind of had to run into.
But here's the thing: this movie
True.
wasn't supposed to
Thanos.
be the build up. The build up is
Thanos, yeah.
all of the movies in the past 10 years. The only character, and you're right, the only character that they needed to build up was Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Because every other character in this series, that was in this movie, has their own movie.
It's true.
And they left out Ant-Man, which didn't piss me off at all because he's kind of annoying.
And Hawkeye. They didn't have Hawkeye.
I like Ant-Man. I like the movie.
At this point, we all alienate Noah. Get out.
Screw him.
You're no longer allowed in the
Ant-Man is just a worse Spider-Man.
There's-
Changed my mind.
There's actually a really interesting
Squirrel Girl is better than Ant-Man.
that actually
Google
just
can
I've
actually
seen on
beat
Reddit.
Thanos.
Dude, yeah, Squirrel Girl has actually defeated Thanos in
so
canon.
retarded. Like,
What?
Yeah, her power is basically...
How
It's
did we get
Does
basically
this get the power of
Ant-Man's...
squirrels?
I don't know.
Power
But she can, like,
squirrels.
shoot nuts or some shit. I don't know.
You're busting nuts over here.
I was saying before, there's actually a really interesting movement which I found earlier today.
What do you mean by movement?
People, like a group of people who believe the same thing.
Okay.
They basically say that Thanos did nothing wrong.
Yeah, because it's a really big moral thing, too. Thanos...
But I don't think they actually discussed that moral idea in depth enough. Like, I wanted to see more about Thanos, like what drove him to come to this conclusion.
Right, well, you do see a little bit about that.
But not what matters, what personally made him think this way. Because there's nothing really personal about him besides maybe killing Gamora,
Well,
which I did think was cool. But we also don't know why he cares about her, besides he took her for whatever reason and he trained her.
The way I
But
see it is that he sees himself in her. I think that her strong will to survive, because in the first little bit she attacks him, but then she backs off a little bit, and I think that that need that happens, she knows what needs to happen and she's willing to do that, which symbolizes what his desires he knows what needs to happen, which is killing the populace in order to survive.
Well, on top of that, dude, Thanos is a total consequentialist.
Go on.
So basically that means that all he cares about is the consequences and not the will of his own actions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that's his whole moral. And they do actually touch on why he does that. They have a small bit in the movie, and it's really easy to miss if you close your eyes, where he talks about how his home planet was overpopulated and it got destroyed.
Yeah.
Everybody died.
But here's the thing, we have a similar solution, and nobody's going around thinking that we should kill half the population. So I want to know what made him come to that conclusion,
Right.
because they can drive that into his own personal story and make it what drives him forward. Like, with D&D, when I write a character, I start with the background, and that determines what happens to them in the past, determines what they want to accomplish in the future, what their flaw is, and, their personality.
Also remember that they
It
have
makes them
more
feel
room
more
to
human.
develop on him, because
It's
this
true.
is a two-parter.
It's true.
It's really interesting whenever you begin to think about the movie doesn't portray him as insane. They portray him as very much so a very logistically rational person.
Yeah.
And the only reason that we kind of see him as bad guys, even before we know about his sort of ethics, is because he's against the heroes that we come to accept.
Right.
So the fact that he shows up in the first bit and he kills a whole bunch of people on the ship, which we can talk about the Loki death in a little while. I mean, the only reason that we know that he's doing that is wrong is just because those are the heroes that we know.
Right.
Even though in reality, Loki's a terrible person.
Yeah, Loki is a terrible person. That doesn't mean that I don't love him with all my heart and soul.
I do love Loki. He's pretty cool.
Anyways, so I was speaking about Thanos being a consequentialist. Basically, that means that the consequences don't matter. It doesn't matter how you get there. So if saving the universe is the consequence of killing half the universe, saving the universe in the end is the greater mean above killing half the universe. And that's kind of the logic that goes behind. That's the reasoning behind his decision that he needs to destroy half the universe.
was it him?
However,
did he destroy half this planet, or was it someone else?
Yeah, he did.
He did.
yes. However, the Avengers are more non-consequentialist, although they're not exactly non-consequentialist.
Depends on who you're talking.
Yeah, it really
Literally,
does.
the tagline "We don't trade lives" is a direct anti-consequentialist. It's like it doesn't matter what the outcome of it is,
Stop.
but we don't do this.
Yeah, but I read a review that was saying how Thanos' reasoning behind doing what he did was not very strong. That was one of the weak points of the movie.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that they could expand upon that some, especially because it's also kind of a very philosophical thing, and movies, especially Disney movies, don't really like to touch on philosophy, and like consequentialism, non-consequentialism, ethics, morality. Like, what is Thanos' principle for morality? We don't know.
Yeah, but you can take what Thanos thinks and then challenge it by the heroes, and then that could be the basis for not only a psychological fight but a mental fight. Like we're getting all these mental
Right.
fights.
Still a better reason than Batman fighting Superman.
Oh yeah.
That's true.
It's also very interesting that you can look at a comparison between Ultron and Thanos, and they have very similar ideas about how to save.
God, it's been so long since
reality.
I've been there.
Because basically he believes that the best way to save the world is to get rid of humanity.
Yeah.
But the difference is, in my view, is that the movie portrays Ultron as insane, as sort of masochistic and unrealistically violent, whereas Thanos is seen as a surprisingly emotional character in some situations.
What was Ultron's thing? What was his philosophy?
Ultron believed that the best way to save the world was to kill humanity entirely.
Right. Oh, okay, that's right. Because we're imperfect. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
That as long as we're alive, I guess the world could never be.
Yeah, humans don't tend to agree with the extinction of humanity.
But without humans, it's like there's animals and that's it. I don't.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I guess.
Well, I mean, there are other races.
This is not.
I mean, Ultron only had knowledge. Didn't Ultron have all the knowledge of all the databases that Tony Stark had?
Probably.
Yes.
And why did he only want to kill humanity and not any other alien race?
Well, I think he touched on that. I feel like he did, like because he knew about Asgard, and he knew about.
Although Asgard is basically just humans. Like, let's be real.
No, I mean
They're gods, but we don't really know what that means.
the citizens of Asgard are not humans. They're like
Asgardians.
They're more like elves, where they can live forever.
yeah.
But they're human-like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
But they still have human flaws.
It's true.
Human characters.
And they can die.
And they both have.
Like, Thor's not much of a god.
But they have to die 3 times first.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
That's not true. That's just what happened to Loki.
Yeah,
Funny
no.
joke, dude.
you want to get into Loki now?
Loki's not an Asgardian.
Wait,
He's an ice giant.
Okay, whatever. Whatever. Michael, I want to know what you didn't like about this movie.
Sorry.
Because you said that they messed up when we started talking
So
about it.
I guess the main flaw about Infinity was that the expectations were not lived up to. Because here's the thing, everyone went into it, and I think the truth is that everyone's main motivation was see people die, whether they like it or not, because that was the thing, right?
Yeah.
They expected people to die because they wanted some sort of change and some sort of consequence. They wanted to see the other characters who were still alive realize that change, and for the viewer to be like, "Whoa, he's dead." That's going to be sad for me because I'm not going to see him anymore, her anymore. But here's the thing: a lot of these people who died already have their movies booked for next time, and so it's like, well, then what's the point?
They did remove Tom Holland from the Venom movie credits.
Yeah, but I don't think he was going to be in there anyway. Now, I know the director did say that some of them, he was like, because he realized that this was a problem with the audience, that he was like, now, you should take these deaths seriously. And I'm like, well,
Just like, yeah.
You know, and because they did it in a way, they killed them in a way that
it feels like they can be brought back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how do you say that? Heimdall in the beginning is dead.
Yeah.
Because he got stabbed through the chest and you saw him die.
Yeah.
It was plain to the viewer. The director wanted the viewers to know that he was dead.
Yeah.
But it's also really interesting that we knew going in that I talked about this with my dad a lot. It's like who do we think is going to die? We actually took bets on it.
Yeah.
And we were saying it's going to be Iron Man, it's going to be Cap, because their contracts are up. But then
That's what Michael said.
In the end, they're still alive, and
all the new characters.
All these new characters.
Yeah, it is so strange.
Like whenever Spider-Man went, I know everybody likes making fun of that, but that was a very what? They're actually bothering to kill him. Like I was expecting.
Oh, you know what my favorite Marvel movie is? I like Doctor Strange a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically my dad. My dad was he's not a neurosurgeon. Never mind. He's a neurologist. Okay, so he's like a quarter of Doctor Strange.
But that's the thing. So the deaths that are fake, now next movie we're going to see how the main characters are still alive cope with their deaths, but we're gonna be sitting here screaming, well, they're not really dead because some of them are gonna come back.
Well, and also Captain Marvel's gonna be in the movie, which we don't even know what the hell that's gonna be about.
Is she like? Isn't she supposed to be?
Maybe she died too. We don't ever get to see her.
Yeah.
No, Disney wouldn't do that. But that just kind of goes back to what we were talking about.
Well, maybe the reason that out of everybody that Nick Fury could have called, he called her. Because maybe she couldn't die from the gauntlet for some reason.
Called in the last scene?
Yeah, and you know,
How do you know it was her?
Because that's her symbol. On the pager.
Oh, okay.
That was her symbol.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I looked it up.
Anna knew it off that. I was pretty impressed.
Really? Interesting.
But what I was trying to say a moment ago was, when we were talking about character deaths, something I realized or something I saw when I was researching that episode was that if you don't physically see like a body, the character's probably going to come back because you don't know for sure. So if somebody falls off a cliff, they're probably dead unless you actually see their body off the cliff. When people are vaporized, a lot of times in sci-fi that could also be a teleporter or something.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing: we see Loki's body when he dies, like 3 times,
and it's even mutilated.
It's even mutilated.
Like his face is purple and his eyes are bulging.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of bleeding.
But
when was the last time he died? Okay, that's around his death, because I know in the Dark World he got stabbed through the heart or stomach.
But that was like a clone.
It was his
the problem is there's too many ways to come back, so that nobody can really trust an actual death.
Well, that's the thing about Loki is that.
And here's the thing too: Loki's a god of tricking, right? He's a god of tricksters. Wouldn't it be the ultimate trick to actually convince like 1 billion people who watch this movie that he was dead?
It would be a good trick if he actually convinced them, but nobody thinks he's dead.
Nobody thinks he's dead?
I mean,
you guys
I wouldn't be surprised if he's not dead. Not to say that people
I love him like you guys do. I think he's great. I think he should have had his own movie.
But I know I understand what you mean in that if he is permanently dead.
Actually, I don't think Loki having his own movie would work very well, because what's great about Loki is how he plays with the other characters.
Yeah.
And how he interacts with them.
Also, Thor's reaction. You would think that Thor wouldn't be so. Because Thor in Dark World already saw him got stabbed in the chest, and then he realized, oh, that was fake. So then
he didn't realize that was fake until Ragnarok.
Yeah, but by the time Ragnarok comes around and Infinity Wars comes around, he's realized that Loki can trick people. So you would think that they would put Thor's reaction as more of a he's okay, yeah.
And speaking of Thor, that whole bit with the what is it called? The dwarfs? That was completely useless. I thought that was just because Disney has
the guy from Game of Thrones. Yeah, that doesn't make any
Peter
sense.
Dinklage,
he's tall. Yeah. But the thing is, and this goes for any story, that those scenes had no physical value and no emotional value. They were just there for the sake of being there.
Maybe.
Well, the thing that I like,
Thor did need to get a new hammer.
Yeah, he needed the hammer.
I mean, yeah, he needs a hammer, but the way there was his challenge where he needed to hold open the door. Of course, he was going to survive. Why wouldn't he survive?
Yeah.
But then there's nothing associated with this. There's no challenging of principles. There's no emotional value. There's nothing that physically connects us.
I think the Thor story was important though, because it showed how cruel Thanos was, because Thanos said, "I will spare you," and then he just completely kills everything.
Sure, but you could have done that in another way.
Is he actually cruel there? Because in action sense, he didn't kill the man.
Yes, but he killed all the other people, and killing in and of itself is bad. That's the problem with it.
And that's a torture method, by killing everyone you love. That's probably worse than dying to most people.
I mean, Mill would disagree with you in that killing in and of itself is bad. Mill is a philosopher.
Oh, let's say motive.
He's also a consequentialist. In fact, if you could draw Thanos' morals from one philosopher in history, I would probably pick Mill, because if Mill had the power of Thanos, I feel like he would do the same thing in the situation. Would you agree with me? Cool.
Well, I mean, in regards to whether or not death, well, I agree with your assertion. But on my own views on the subject, death in and of itself, as a statement, would be bad. But then if you start thinking about the connotations of that thing, then that means that capital punishment is wrong. killing to protect yourself is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be some case if we can concede there's some cases where killing is okay.
There's always an
There's
exception.
not any sense of it being okay. There's a sense of it being lesser of two evils, such in the case of self-defense.
So in Thanos' case, it would be he understands the value of the weight of what he's doing, but he understands that it has to happen, and so he's willing to accept the moral
But he thinks it has to happen. Nobody
Can we
actually says it
also
does have to happen.
But he
talk
saw
about-
it happen to his own planet.
But that nobody knows that actually helped. Okay, I guess he kind of said that.
Yeah, that's
Never
his
mind.
reasoning.
But
Yeah.
it's kind of stupid because all you have to do, if they have, I'm sure they have the capacity to move to another planet. You know?
Yeah.
You would think that you just moved to another planet. But
I mean, they had those big floating octopus things, so.
Yeah.
I mean, but if you think about it in a smaller sense, you have a family. Say that you're in charge of a family,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got 4 children and a dog.
Okay.
So you're starving, and you have no access to food.
Yes.
What's the first thing you do? Kill the dog.
Of course.
Eat the dog.
Yes.
The next step, all your children are dying, you're all going to die at the same time. Do you let them all die at the same time, or do you kill 2 of them and give enough time in order for your 2 children to survive? Or is it better that they all die and you remain morally safe or emotionally safe
Wouldn't it be better if you just all suffer together?
and die together?
Yeah. What's the point of extending your life if you're not going to save it?
Well, no, because what I'm saying is if we operate in the assumption that if you kill off 2 of the children,
Yes.
the other 2 will be fine. They'll
Yes.
live the entire life.
Oh, okay.
So either 4 children live for another day, or 2 children live the rest of their lives.
Well, because the problem with that is that you now value one life over the other.
Yeah, but it's
That's
also
what's more.
there's also intrinsic. If you agree that there's an intrinsic value to life, and that upholding that is also true.
See, the problem with that is you're turning it into instead of a question of, you're changing life into physical numbers, and that's the problem.
But
And that's
is
the problem with Thanos.
But is that self-defense?
It's not self-defense, because you're still making the choice to kill somebody.
No, but he truly is. He's operating on the best assumptions. You may disagree with his actions, but he's really what he's trying to do is save as many lives as he can.
Yeah, but intentions don't matter.
It's the actions, yes.
Xander, what do you say about that?
Well, I'd say that half of this table is Kant and the other half is Mill.
Well, when I said the self-defense, I was just
Because you guys are talking about how the intentions. Well, actually, the intentions.
What are the intentions, Xander?
Okay. Shit, that's kind of in between. Because here's the thing, the intention was good, the action was bad, and the end result was. We don't even know yet.
Could help all humanity, which would be interesting. You know, I would love it if they actually keep all these people dead, or at least for like a couple of years, and then maybe bring back some of them.
A few of them.
Or like Superman, because
But-
like he died, oh psych, and then 2 years later, oh we brought him back. Oh my gosh, it's so.
Also, a question I had was, why did Thanos care about Earth in the first place? And also, how did...
Well,
what was the plan? What was
the only
problem?
reason he invaded Earth was because 2 of the Soul Stones were on Earth.
It's
But
true.
he got those Soul Stones so he could destroy half
I
the
mean,
planet.
not 2 of the Soul Stones, 2
So
of the
he could
Infinity Stones.
Destroy half the universe.
What he wanted to do, and like I thought it was really interesting that at the end, after he does it, he's sitting like perfectly peaceful.
That was an awesome scene. I love that.
Yeah, because
That was-
like after he does it, you see this man in so much distress, and like he had to kill Gamora, which actually kind of symbolizes sort of his willingness to sacrifice.
Gamora is
for the
also
greater
not
good,
dead.
at least what he believes to be the greater good.
Yep.
So like here we are again.
Gamora's probably dead.
Yeah.
I hope she's dead.
I hope she's
I'm
dead.
pretty sure
Yeah,
her
that's
soul
stupid,
is stored in the Soul Gem, but I don't know.
But we saw that everything was destroyed.
Mhm.
I thought that was interesting. But they made a little note that like you could see that it was just crumpled in the background, like all the gauntlet and all the stones. were back.
Vision's definitely dead, right?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I don't miss Vision though. He was kind of a dull character.
I mean, we kind of knew he was going to die as soon as he got a Soul Stone.
Yeah. Like,
Technically,
like
it's the mindset.
no offense to the guy who plays Vision, but Vision in and of himself is kind of an uninteresting character. And like,
you know what? Vision is like the crappy version of Vita.
yeah.
Oh,
Nobody-
okay,
nobody
this is
else
on the
knows
side
what
note.
that means.
This is on the side note, but Xander, Anna and I were watching this anime called... Oh, shit, what is it called? Oh. Alright, somebody else talk.
Okay.
I'll come up with it later.
So
We can talk more about philosophy of killing for.
Please go ahead.
I wouldn't necessarily, what I was saying earlier, I wouldn't necessarily agree with like a utilitarianistic view of life.
What do you mean by that?
Well, here's the thing: is that
in the sense that what is good is what is good for the greater good.
yeah. Okay,
So, like, what is good for the
utilitarianism. I
number
have
of people.
I have the definition. Okay, so utilitarianism is the greatest happiness principle. Basically, what that means is that for something to be moral and so for something to be good, it produces the greatest amount of happiness for the greatest amount of people with the least amount of pain. So technically, Thanos' actions aren't strictly utilitarian because it's not the greatest amount of people. In fact, it's exactly half the amount.
No, but he's talking about the potential.
Of course, if you take into account the potential, then yes, it is utilitarianism. However, the big problem with utilitarianism, one of the big problems, is that it does not consider the individual.
Some could argue, and this is kind of a theory I thought of, but it is kind of, you notice how Thanos' meaning is kind of mathematical too, because he's all about balance. Remember, I mean, his quote, that quote, he was like, he said half of the universe will still exist, perfectly balanced, like all things should be.
Yep.
He's all about balance. So I mean, I don't know, maybe he might be an OCD addict. You know, that sounds like an OCD guy.
I really
Like Jeff the Kid.
enjoyed a lot of parts of the movie because I felt like there was a lot of really interesting aspects to it.
There was a lot of
I wanted to
refreshing
say,
aspects to the movie.
No, the Forge section that was made in specific reference to the fact that in the first Thor movie, he said that Mjolnir was forged in the heart of a dying star.
Oh yeah, that's cool world building. Yeah, but I still think ultimately that section.
But the reason is that a lot of the fanboys were wondering if, given that Asgard is like a super futuristic fan base, like how exactly is it forged in a dying star? And so then they sort of created a world for that.
I mean that's cool and all, but the problem I have as a story critic is it has no value in the context, in the greater context. It doesn't add anything or take away.
I really do think that you would make a great game designer, just as a by the way.
Thank you, buddy.
What would be better?
You're the next Kojima, my dude.
Michael, if the way that everything went around doing it, and I'll break an assumption that we still want most of the characters to die in some sort of meaningful way, what would be the best way for that to happen?
What I thought they were going to do was that they would do each character death sort of like Heimdall's, where they absolutely knew, but not at the same time. Another thing I had a problem with is
watch
it
them
was
bring
all at the same time.
Oh my gosh!
Kind of like, I wish it would have been. I thought it was going to be each one has a noble attempt at stopping him.
Yeah.
Individually as individuals, and then they all fail individual, but they were going to have a heroic death because.
And Captain America kicks the shit out of them.
As soon as they knew they were going to lose, like that last scene, they kind of had that.
Like whenever Iron Man fights him.
Yes, and Captain America holding him, he's like, he knew he was going to win, or lose, but he still stood his ground.
Yeah. Okay, did anybody notice how in the trailer they edited Thanos' hand to make it look like he had 2 stones, but in reality he had 5 stones?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of pissed me off.
Like in Ragnarok,
though, because
and also
in Thor Ragnarok, the trailer, they edited it so he had 2 eyes instead of the one scratched out one.
Yeah.
So that people were surprised when that scene happened.
Yeah. Also, the fight scene where at the end where in the trailer, that famous part where it was like everybody in the Hulk. Yeah. Well, in the movie it was everybody.
With the Wakanda.
Yeah, in the Wakanda fight, it was everybody and Hulkbuster, not Hulk.
You mean the Iron Man?
Yo, in that Wakanda fight, there were gene stealers. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, those are all gene stealers.
Yeah,
you're right.
Scary shit.
I think
from the Tyranids?
I would agree with that.
From the Tyranids.
I think it'd also be more emotionally impactful because we're having to slowly watch it happen instead of just happening in one 15-minute.
Also, why didn't the Wakanda just use their planes and blast them?
They have planes?
Yeah, they had planes.
That was I was thinking okay, all you do is you open one section of the wall and you park all your planes
and just
and just blow them up because the things are too stupid to make any sort of
that's
tactical
what we're
decisions.
talking about. Noah mentioned in the other.
The battle episode?
No, the episode about fight scenes where it says that the characters, and the problem with some fight scenes is that the characters know that they have the material to win, but they don't for dramatic purposes. Like what happened.
I don't think I said that, but that is true.
I think, someone did on the podcast.
Yeah, they don't do it because it doesn't look as cool.
Yeah, and it's
But
kinda
like another thing, and as the fight went on, I realized that this wasn't a silly idea. But they all line up like Roman cavalry style, or not Roman cavalry, but like Roman style, and they lock shields and stuff like that. I was like, well, if they just let the flood of Tyranids hit them, they'll probably be able to hold off. But then I realized that they could just go around. However, I was getting so mad that when they broke formation, because I was like, I played Total War. Those guys ain't got shit.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.
Michael's relighting our candle. We're at 30 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
I really. Speaking
of
of like the noble fight scene, I think that the part where Iron Man is fighting Thanos by himself, I think that was a fight scene that felt realistic because it was a one-on-one fight and it still felt like he was losing, even though it was very visually interesting. And especially like whenever he actually ends up stabbing him, I thought that was the end of Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I was kind of sad that they took it back. You know.
No, I kind of like that actually because everybody expected him to die and then he didn't. Can I also
you like
say?
It because it's counter.
Yeah, but there's still like there's the impact, that moment where you see like the thing go through and then like he just kind of stumbles.
Think about
over.
it this: when we were talking about character deaths, I think it's important to when you're writing a character death to make his death impact the other characters. So think of it this way: if Iron Man were to die, then Spider-Man wouldn't have his mentor anymore, and he would have to be forced to figure out everything else.
Yeah,
on
but
his
that
own.
would also
be
be like
cool.
the classic mentor death thing, like Obi-Wan.
It's not using tropes
Luke
isn't bad. It's how you
Skywalker
use the tropes. So if that dying is stereotypical, then whatever. But if they can take that, they can take it and go places with it and actually make it interesting.
The student dying, I feel, is just as impactful, like when Spider-Man died, because it's you can feel the weight of Iron Man's responsibility.
This is my fault. Is the feeling.
Because that's the last thing you wanted to happen was Spider-Man.
When you're the student, you kind of have the excuse in your head of I wasn't trained enough. I wasn't ready to stop this from happening to my master. Then again, your master wasn't trained enough either. So what does that say? But like when you're the master, it's your responsibility to protect your students, and it's a completely different thing, which I would actually argue makes it more impactful.
There were a lot of cases in this movie where the characters themselves didn't really show in an actual fight, which is a lot of the movie. But I really like there was one part, I don't know if you guys remember this, where Spider-Man is dealing with
Squidward?
No, he's
There's a tower in this movie too. What the hell is going on?
He was trying to
They
save
have
everybody.
towers and shit.
He was running around trying to save all these different people, and he was like frantically trying to do it. And there was so much like character in that way. He was going like, "I'm coming, hold on," you know. And I thought that if they had more moments like that, I would have been happier.
That was a heartfelt scene because it showed that what he really cared about.
He cared.
Protecting.
Yeah, but then you had like a lot of fight scenes with Star-Lord or Drax, and it's just kind of it's just he's got guns. He's gonna stab him.
No, the best part of the movie is where is Gamora? I'll do you one better. Who is Gamora? I'll do you one better.
It was why is Gamora.
Why is Gamora?
That's pretty great.
Yeah, it was. All right, Noah, do you want to leave us with some final thoughts?
You know, there's something more to talk about. I think we're doing a good job this episode of bringing everything in.
I mean, not in the beginning. This is probably one of the worst intros we've ever had.
Oh yeah, those bloopers are definitely getting put somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You better put them on like a Dropbox so that you don't lose them again.
Yeah, shit. I need to get a flash drive.
Something like that.
Yeah, but then you would just lose the flash drive.
No, I'll put it in my desk over there.
Oh, this is completely unrelated. You were just talking about how we're so good at bringing it in.
Way to stay on topic, guys.
We're being so meta right now.
Okay, actually, that's an interesting way. That's why I close it.
Mm-hmm.
For the next movie, how do they salvage this death
Hey,
situation?
can I say something?
Sure. No.
I don't know about
You're
you
not
guys,
allowed
but
to.
shut up. Xander asked for my pots too. You want some pot over there? Alright, so I was watching this movie, and through about halfway through, I realized that it really felt a little empty, but it also felt like it wasn't done. Like, this isn't everything. And, I don't know, I thought this movie was okay, but like I said, I'm sitting there the whole time and it doesn't feel complete. It feels empty. It feels kind of void of meaning. And a lot of it was because they had all this shit, and they didn't just kind of filler stuff, like when he goes to get the hammer. And like having all these characters, but not actually using them for anything meaningful.
Yeah.
Now, I do like the stuff with Thanos. I think that was probably the best parts of the movie. But everything in between, everything that connected, seemed kind of useless.
And I do also agree with Michael when he said that expectations were way too high for the movie.
That's also true.
When your expectations are that high, it's not going to be as good as your expectations. That's why I purposefully set my expectations ridiculously low. Like, this movie is going to be the next Batman v Superman low. Like, legitimately. And then I went to the movie theater and I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was. So it's also about perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
True.
I mean, like, if you imagine this movie as if it was just one in the lineup, I think that if you look at it that way, it'd be just one of the best.
Yeah, in like a couple months, it's gonna come to perspective.
All right, let's answer my question.
All right, then we'll end it. You know, like, I want to see more about Thanos. I want to really dig into his philosophy.
You know what? There was a part I really wanted to see more happen. Right after he got the Soul Stone, there cuts to this part where he's in a lake in like a vision, and he leans forward and like the thing goes into his glove, and he's in this weird like reality place.
Oh, you're right.
There's like a moon in the background, there's like a mountain, like he's sitting in water, and then they just don't talk about that anymore. Like I wanted to see like an interesting thing happen with the fact
Right,
that
that's an excellent way to look at his own personal side of things.
Yeah, like he is interacting with a soul, or even his own soul, because he's just gotten the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been a great use. But like I said, they have a lot of just useless stuff that they...
Yeah, I felt like that might have been useless. Because if they don't bring it back, then it's a useless thing, definitely.
Hey, Red Skull was in this movie.
It was.
For some reason.
Was it Red Skull?
Because
Well, they needed
That was Red Skull.
to bring him back around.
Oh, was that Red Skull?
He teleported.
No, well, not
'Cause that's
necessarily.
The space stone.
I was mad about that.
No, he was the guardian of the Soul Stone.
No, but
because
the
the
Tesseract is
because
the
the
space.
Tesseract.
So
is
whenever
the
he
space
was
stone.
holding it in Captain America 1, he teleported away.
Yeah, what happened was every single one of his individual atoms was changed. But why? Where did he go from being teleported away to being the guardian of a freaking Infinity
Yeah,
Stone?
they didn't. I don't think they introduced or they brought him back well because he was the first villain of the Marvel or was because
Yeah, he's
first
a
Avenger.
huge deal.
He's a huge deal, and he's also iconic because he's the first one in Captain America, which is the first Avenger. Mm-hmm. And they just kind of bring him on, but he probably only got like 3 minutes of screen time.
Oh yeah.
He was spooky as fuck, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was just because I thought they would have done something better for him.
That's like, you know what that kind of reminds me of? Their use of the Joker in Suicide Squad.
I got one more thing, and then we should close up. I want, like I said a moment ago, these character deaths should actually have some meaning in the grander scheme of things. Because like I was saying, we have all these characters, but they're just kind of sitting around being useless, cracking jokes at each other. Their relationships to these other characters, which we've seen for the past 10 years, let me see what happens when they're broken. And then maybe revive them at the end of the movie. I would prefer you wait a little bit longer before you do that, so that you can really have these deaths sink in.
I mean, we got it here.
I mean, like, what if they just didn't announce what the movie's coming out?
That would be kind of cool. And it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, or no, like after them, like 3 weeks after the movie comes out, they're like, you know what? All this movie schedule, it's out the window. That was a lie. And then like they just don't tell you what's coming out next. Yeah.
All right.
Feel my hands.
Anything else, lads?
What the heck? Oh. Okay.
All right then. It's a good episode. Without we should do more of these in person.
Yeah.
Yes.
They feel a lot more fluid.
Right, because we're not because we can see each other talking.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for some weird.
Oh my gosh, I need to wash this crap off my hands.
We'll be seeing you around. Bye bye.
Nobody wants